All right, we're ready to begin with Tennessee. Reminder, video not permitted in the interview room. That can be available down at the video distribution area. Also, another reminder to turn your clocks up tonight before you go to bed. We will ask Coach Barnes for some general thoughts on the game, take your questions for the student athletes, and then excuse them, and then finish up with the coach. So, Coach Barnes?
Well, coming into the game, we have so much respect for Arkansas. That's one of the teams that we hadn't beaten since we've been at Tennessee, and you know, we had a great game with them up there to start the season, and again, the respect level for them was tremendous. And we came out and first half arguably played the best basketball we played all year. I mean, Jordan Bone was terrific, and the team actually feeds a lot off him when he's out there playing with the speed and quickness that he has. And but really, we talked about coming in was just our defense. That we're going to put it on our defense. Can't do what we did last night. We talked about we just can't sweep that game under the rug and act like, okay, we won, now we're here. We knew we couldn't turn it over 17 times and take 10 or 12 bad shots like we did yesterday, because Arkansas, they just feast on that, and we didn't today, and that had a lot to do with our offense.
All right, if you'll raise your hand, we'll get a floor mic to you. And questions for either of the student athletes? We'll start right on the front row.
Hey, this is for both players, maybe Jordan first and Admiral second. Yeah, first half you guys hit, I think, 19 to 26. I think it's 76%, or not, actually 19 to 25. Well, what was really working? What do you think Arkansas's defense? Were you guys just hot?
I mean, I just think starting off the game, we were really aggressive. It's really just playing within the offense. You know, shots were falling, and we were playing against like a really good defensive team, but we were just getting to our spots and we were making shots.
Admiral?
Like you said, we were being a lot more aggressive, and it started with Jordan Bone. I think when he's more aggressive, you know, him being the point guard and handling the ball most of the game, we're more aggressive because, you know, he has amazing speed and getting the crack, what we call the crack down the lane, and you know, he makes a lot of plays, 2-foot plays, and it opens up scoring opportunities for everybody. So the biggest thing is it starts with him, and you know, he really helped us out tonight.
Question on the aisle in the middle.
Admiral, and maybe for Jordan too, do you feel like with where you guys started the season and the preseason picks so low and what you did in regular season, you're still playing this tournament like you still have to validate or prove to the rest of the league and the country exactly how good you are?
Admiral?
I wouldn't say we're trying to prove anything. We just have a standard that we're trying to play towards, and the biggest thing is we try to go out every game with that mindset, like we're trying to perfect our standard. And you know, we haven't done that yet, so we're still a hungry team. We still want more. And to address the preseason picks, you know, it's motivation, because, you know, the people who pick us in certain spots don't see the work that we put in the spring and the off season up until the point of the season. So the biggest thing is we can't worry about that. We just got to worry about our jobs and doing our jobs consistently.
Jordan? Is that same question?
No, you said it perfect.
Raise your hand. Let's go to the far right, front row.
Yeah, Jordan, a couple shots went down for you early late in the shot clock. Did that get you going, or something else that got you more aggressive in that first half going to the basket?
I mean, it was really just, you know, taking what we did in yesterday's game and just learning from that. You know, I think we started off kind of flat offensively, and I feel like it starts with me. I just have to be aggressive, and in order for us to be an effective team, I have to get to my spots and make people, you know, react off of other players so I can get my teammates open.
Raise your hand if you have a question. Do you have one on the front row?
This is for both of you. You got a quick turnaround playing Kentucky tomorrow. What is your mindset going into a game in which you're playing an opponent you've already beaten twice this year? Jordan?
I mean, just executing our game plan. You know, we have to get rest tonight and just do what we do. Like AD said earlier, we have a standard that we're trying to, you know, perfect. So we just have to do that and get ready for a team that's hungry to beat us.
Admiral?
The biggest thing is it's the postseason now, and you know, a lot of teams you can't really change who you are, but at the same time, what we did in the regular season doesn't matter at this point. Just like in any tournament, any team can make a run as deep as they want. So the biggest thing is we can't go in the mindset that we've already beaten them twice. You know, I mean, for us, for basketball players, we have a motto where we call running back. You know, when you lose or if you're a competitor, you want to run it back, and it's probably the mindset that they have. But, you know, we'll be ready. And the biggest thing is we got to get our bodies ready to play, get our minds ready to play, and execute the game plan for tomorrow.
Take the last question on the far right. Did you have one? You good? Okay. Was there one final question? All right, let's take it right down the front.
You guys are playing your second game in 2 days. They were playing their third game in 3 days. Did you get a sense, they got fatigued, or what? How do you think that played into it?
Question for
Either one,
Okay.
or both. Whatever.
Admiral. You want to take that one?
Well, that's the blessing of a double bye, and that's why you compete as hard as you can in the regular season to get a higher seed, so you can get that double bye. But at the same time, it's championship season, and fatigue does play a role. But everybody's tired. Everyone's banged up at this time of year, and the biggest thing is who wants it the most. And I can't discredit them. They're a great team, very dangerous team if you let them get certain things in the game that apply to their winning philosophy. And for us, we didn't allow that. Taking care of the ball and not turning the ball over, taking bad shots, and letting that lead them to runouts and easy points in transition eliminated a lot of their scoring. And the biggest thing for us is we got to always do that. We got to be more consistent with that. So fatigue is going to play a role for every team. Even though that we got a double bye and Kentucky has a double bye, it's going to play a role for everybody because everyone's banged up at this time of year. But right now, it's just about who wants it bad enough.
All right, we'll excuse the student athletes. You can return to the locker room. Thank you. And we'll continue on with questions for Coach Barnes, and we'll take the first one on the far right on the front row.
Yeah, Rick, what did you like most about what Jordan did tonight?
That attack, and defensively, though, that's what, again, we said from the very beginning, after we waited till the game was over last night, and we talked as a team, after I'd had a chance to see a little bit of the tape, I said, we're not going to sweep this under the rug now. We weren't very good. Not only did we turn it over 17 times, but Admiral and Grant took some really bad shots yesterday where they were pressing, and it was simple. You do that against Arkansas, they're going to ring you up really pretty quickly. But we went back and said we got to see the mental concentration, the physical concentration, where on defense the details, pressuring the ball, making sure we filled the lane up, not giving driving lanes, and if you're not doing it, you're telling us that you're not locked in. And so our whole deal was. And I told every guy today, I said, every one of you be ready because we have to sub every other possession. We'll do that. But we're going to get back to playing the kind of defensive basketball we're capable of.
Question on the third row on the aisle.
Rick, I just wonder what you remember about the 2 games with Kentucky and how that game sizes up in your mind.
Sure, I'm getting older now. My memory's not that good. What I do remember, the last play, if I remember right, we fouled. I think we were up 3, right? And we fouled, and a free throw block out, and we came up with it. I can't remember if they tried to miss it or what, but we fouled. That's what I remember. That's in both games were hard-fought games. They're a totally different team than they were then. I've been watching them. I mean, they've looked like. John does such a great job of his teams always get better late in the year, and it looks like they've really made a commitment to really play big, strong basketball inside. And so I think tomorrow will be that kind of game. But these guys are growing up. Like he kept saying all year, they needed time to grow up, and they picked a good time of the year to do it.
Let's take a question in the middle aisle over here, second row middle.
Rick, you said after that loss in Fayetteville that you felt like in the half court you could get just about anything you wanted when they weren't pressing. Was that first half kind of what you meant, and how fun was that to watch?
Well, it was. I mean, I said when I walked off the court at the interview that I wish we could bottle that because it was, we shot the ball, and when you're making shots, it all looks good, but it was our defense was really good. I do think that. I thought our defense would. And that's what we've done all year, and we're going to have to continue to do that. But, back to the question about 3 days, I do think that early Mike and then probably maybe wanted to be a little bit more aggressive with it, but it is a difference when you play three days in a row, 3 games. And at the end when they were doing it, they couldn't quite do it at the pace they would have if they had more time, but we had to handle that. We didn't handle that up there. If you go back, we had some problem with the pressure. Today, for the most part, we handled it pretty well.
Question on the far right, front row.
Yeah, one more on Jordan. How has his progress been this year in terms of finding that balance of aggression but then creating for others? And do you think that recently he's maybe taken another step in that way?
Well, his progress has been inconsistent. But when he, you go back a year ago, he missed, I think, 9, 10 games, and really worked hard in the off season at conditioning more than anything else. He can shoot the ball. He can do that. He gets caught sometimes in between, when to use the speed, when to go, when not to go. He's always been a guy that defers, I think, a little bit too much, but he understands what we're doing. And what we want him to do is, we told him a couple of weeks ago, because he went through a period where he missed some layups, and said, hey, you still got to put pressure on the rim for us. And he can shoot the ball. He is a really good shooter. We've even told him that at times when he gives the ball up, because we move the ball a lot. We really try to move players a lot. And once it's out of his hand, once we're down there, I said, you got to be more aggressive, like a Jordan Bowden or someone like that when the ball comes back, because we're a team that we pass, shoot, and we pass, catch, and shoot. And but he can shoot it. But we need his speed. His speed really is a huge advantage, and he can do it. But we also want him to use that speed on the defensive end, his speed and quickness.
We've got time for a couple more. Let's take one right here, and then we'll catch you on the third row.
Even with this loss, Arkansas is 1A of their last 11. I don't know how much recent film you got to watch on them after your game last night, but what do you think about how they're playing and what kind of NCAA tournament team they could be?
I wouldn't want to play any teams in our league. I just think this league has been a brutal league, and I hope it doesn't affect us all, because we have all fought. I go back and look at this league. There's so many teams in the league that it's been a great year for SEC basketball, and I really give the commissioner and the SEC staff credit for that, because when I came into it, I remember his meeting with us, and we were the one sport in the league that wasn't living up to the standard of this league, and he said, you all have to change that. And through scheduling, and he's done what he said he would do in terms of we're working hard with the officiating, which is a hard thing for any conference, but Mark Whitehead, and you had Dan Leibovich to it, Mike Tranghese as a consultant. The emphasis that he placed on it is starting to show up too, and you can feel this year everywhere we went on the road, there's a real fan base for home teams, and again, I just think there's a lot of credit that goes there, because we know what the SEC is about and everything. And finally, the basketball has lived up to it. I like to think we're going to get 8 teams, and who knows more. I don't really look at it that much. But I do think there's not a team in this league, any team in this league that plays in the tournament next week has a chance to do a lot of damage.
Okay, last question real quick, right there on third row on the aisle.
Rick, Kentucky, Winion Gabriel was 7 for 7 on threes the first game today. Kentucky made a season-high 12 threes. How does that, as the opposing coach, how does that strike you?
Well, we made 11. You know what? When I think about him, 2 years ago, he was the difference in the game in Lexington. He came out. He had a tough night in Knoxville, but he started knocking those, and he's capable of doing that. And but they've got depth. We know that, and we've got depth. But I don't think either one of us go in the game thinking we've got to make 11, 10, 12 threes. But like I said, when it's going in, it makes everything look pretty.
All right, thank you.
I'll finish your question. What do you want to ask me?
Well, I was going to ask you about Arkansas. What you
Yeah.
think of them as an NCAA tournament?
I think they're terrific. I think a year ago, they were a game away from the Elite Eight with a couple of really tough calls, and I think they're capable of going as deep and winning it as much as anybody. Their team is a hard game to prep on a one-day prep. So they get through that first round game, their opponent, the next round is going to, they're a hard team on a one-day prep to get ready for. Okay.
Thank you.
There's actually one game